This is a lovely little collection of lead soldiers, lead figures. Why have you brought them along?
I brought them along because they've been in the family since my grandfather collected them in the early 1870s. He was born in 1858, and he was the youngest of three brothers. They were a Liverpool family, and he was the odd one out in that he was mad keen about the army, ever since he could sort of get off his mother's knee. As he was obviously too young to join the army, he had an army of his own of lead soldiers.
Oh, this is the army. This is his army.
Yeah.
What was his name?
George.
And this photograph here, this isn't him, is it?
That's George up there.
Good grief.
When he was in fact serving in South Africa with the Diamondsfield Horse.
So did he travel all over the world with his service?
Yes, he started his service in Burma. He had 2 tours there. A lot of the rest of the time he was in India, up in the northwest frontier.
And did he take his army with him? I mean, this is his personal army, isn't it?
He took the army with him, but what we don't know is how much, because certain parts were left in Liverpool with his 2 brothers.
And would they send instructions to each other, the brothers?
Did they ever?
Yeah.
Yes, by letters.
Were they fighting in any particular battles or any particular countries?
They were not fighting any particular battle in real life. It was all on this make-believe geoland, of which he, George, Emperor George, ruled with a rod of iron, and his 2 brothers were only ever promoted to be generals. Bearing in mind, he was the youngest of 3 sons, and as far as we know, they obeyed his instructions, such as firing a 21-gun salute on their mother's birthday.
What, with one of these cannons, probably?
Oh, yes.
And I have to say, it looks like, I mean, if you look at this one, for example, it looks like it's actually been fired.
Certainly that one has.
Yes.
And I can tell you from experience, I have fired them. That will disappear over there. That will disappear in 2 bits. And they are rather lethal.
Yes, I can imagine. But how long ago was he playing with these then?
Well, he would have started, I think, when he was about 14, 15. So that would have been
1875,
yeah, a bit
like
before that.
Right.
Because in fact he got a competitive commission in the army, in the Royal Scots Fusiliers, in 1878.
You see, the thing that puzzles me is that it's understood, as far as I'm aware, that wargaming as a pastime actually started at the beginning of the 20th century. Now, here we have possible proof that actually wargaming started, maybe even with your grandfather, 25 years earlier than that.
You're correct, because in his letters home, he does mention he took the bulk of the army out on his first posting to Burma, to Rangoon, where he shared a bungalow with the regimental surgeon, who was a bachelor. And indeed, they did a war game. They laid out on the floor of their living room an enormous sort of canvas map, and that was it.
Well, I think what is wonderful is not just having your grandfather George's model soldiers with which he played war games with his brothers and other friends. You've got the fascinating book which describes how the war games took place. You've also got, and this is what amazes me, these fantastic photographs of your grandfather, so we can see the man himself who actually played with these, I think, wonderful little objects. And you've got how many hundreds?
I would think altogether got about 1,000. I never actually counted them.
Okay, of actually very early figures, together with the book, together with the photograph, and presumably a lot of other ephemera.
Yeah.
And I would think we'd be looking in terms of £3,000 to £5,000.
Yeah.
It's a great little collection. Well, thank you so much for bringing them along.
Not a
bit.
bit.
It's been a pleasure.
So it's got everything you want from a miniature carriage clock, and I'm going to ask you first, do you like it or do you think it's a bit twee?
It's very nice. I appreciate the artwork. I think it's very well made, but I know nothing about it at all.
Do you have it working at home?
No, I don't. I don't know how to wind it up, and there's two ends to that key.
I'll explain it all later, but in the meantime,